Get him off. Get him off.
We're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
And so I think we had mic issues. We're getting it out there. Frank, appreciate you as always. And of course, joining in my co-host for season 5, Kenny Cotterell. What's up, my brother?
How the hell am I still the co-host of this shindig here, given my lack of appearances?
I have no idea. I just thought by default you should keep it, and we can revisit it in the offseason if that's still something you want to do. I have the moon behind me because this game was putting me to sleep. Then all of a sudden it was an 8-point game. And here we are. Kenny, are you watching the NBA Finals?
I'm aware that the Celtics are up 19, and judging by the jersey behind me, I'm not thrilled about it. So I'm obviously hopeful that the Mavs somehow find a way to pull this out. I am not hopeful, or I shouldn't say hopeful. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm going to enjoy trolling Steve Reisner all throughout this finals. And it's actually my job to not let him enjoy any of these games.
He is absolutely on a tear from what I understand. Marcus told me he's already flaunting everything he possibly can from this early onslaught. They should. If it was the Rockets, I'd be unbearable to the entire world. So I get it. Right? You're supposed to keep them in check. We got some headlines. Not going to be a long episode tonight, so let's jump right into it. Headlines that kind of turn your head. First off and foremost, we have, for those who follow us in the crypto world, we had a stock go off the last week. So let's talk about that real quick. Stock market watch is in effect. Kenny, I don't know about you, but we invested in GameStop well before this massive hit. GameStop to the moon is happening again. And if you're not following this whole situation, and I hope you are, but if you're not, Roaring Kitty put in a cool 200 million, and all of a sudden the stock has quadrupled in 3 weeks, and he's a billionaire in less than a month. Like, that is just a wild thing to happen to somebody, and they have a really crazy decision. So if you're not familiar with the situation, here's the deal. Huge political attack happening, right, about stocks and private stocks and what's happening with these companies that are being funded by the public. And then all of a sudden, Roaring Kitty says, here we come again with the whole GameStop debacle. And he says, I have 200 million reasons why it's worth it. And so now he's invested this money. Now the investors of GameStop and the stocks, just the stock market in general, have to fund him that money and open up 12 million more shares of GameStop to fund it since he's put the money in. And if he does that, the stock price is going to just go to the moon by itself. That by itself makes it go to the moon. And so all of us are just here for the ride. We really hope that happens. If not, we'll all just be kind of sitting here saying, hey, what's next? What's next? But I hope you guys got in on the GameStop action. And like I said, I don't know if there's a bigger headline anywhere except for maybe one of the biggest ones. And Triple Z's, let's roll the clip on the WNBA.
Mabry doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench. And big time contact afterwards. Saw the knockaway there from Clark, and then the lay from Boston as the officials are going to take a look at what just transpired between Carter and Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter, I think that's going to be a flagrant one, and Clark goes to the line and hits the first. They called it away from the ball foul because it happened prior to the inbound. So then anybody can shoot the free throw. Of course, Indiana would have Clark as a great free throw shooter shoot it. A little surprised that it's nothing more than a common foul beyond that.
So Kenny, I'm invested in the WNBA at this point. I am excited for Caitlyn Clark, but the question's starting to loom for me. Is she going to be that villain that everybody's going to hate for a while because of all the attention that's going to happen? Like, is she just going to be vilified for a while by WNBA players? Is that just what's going to happen?
I mean, I've been a WNBA guy for a few years. I've bought their league pass like the last 4 seasons. So I was into it before Caitlyn Clark. I mean, there's a few things. Like, she is a villain, not just because of the fact that they've already crowned her as the next great thing, even though she hasn't truly accomplished anything yet in the league. She talks a lot of smack. Like, if you watch a Fever game, like, she is talking all the time. So when she gets, don't get me wrong, that foul's a cheap shot. We know that it is. They called it how they should have. But the hard screens that she's getting and the tough defense that she's getting, there's a reason why she's getting it. And it's not only because she's talented, but if she was just going about her business, not saying anything, then this wouldn't be happening as frequently as it is. So it's great for the league. I mean, if you look, the Fever have already sold more tickets in their first 5 home games than they did for all of their home games total last season. So it's great from that perspective. And it is going to start to trickle down when we start talking about WNBA contracts down the line. I think it's just right now in the moment, it's as bad as it's going to get. But there's no doubt, like, she's played great at times. She's also got a turnover problem. She had that in college too.
Yes.
But that's not to say that she's not playing great for a rookie. And she's not the only rookie that's playing great. I think we already know the great rookie class. Like, Cameron Brink in LA is already a shot blocking force. Angel Reese has had games. We're finally seeing Cardoza out there. Like, this is just a really good WNBA rookie class, and I think that it's that next wave of talent that's up and coming. But look, the Fever are a bad team. We knew that going into the year. They're still not the worst team in the league, but they're going to struggle for a little bit because it takes more than one player to win in the WNBA. And yeah, she's a villain right now, but it's because she hasn't won anything yet. We almost vilify those talents like that until they win things, and until she does, she probably will remain that.
Most sponsorship money since 2020 combined for the last 4 years, most views for Indiana Fever basketball and WNBA in general for her first 3 games than the last 2 decades. Like, just a massive following. And I don't know about you, Kenny. I ordered my Caitlyn Clark jersey already, so I mean it's already on the way.
No. I'm not a Fever fan. I've been an Aces fan for 4 years. And I was an Aces fan before they won back-to-back WNBA titles. You can go back to the record of Shooter Shoot Basketball podcast. The archives are there. I've been cheering for the Aces before they won any sort of championship. I think the other thing is, you look in the offseason, you talked about the sponsorship money. Aja Wilson's been the best player in the WNBA for a couple of years, and she wasn't getting that kind of money. And I think that's where we see this divide. It is a racial divide, quite frankly, because, you know, we're seeing that all the time. And I feel like the other communities are feeling like, well, she's been a league MVP and she's a back-to-back champion, and she can't get a deal out of Nike like Caitlyn Clark would. Like, that's where they have the problem. But while Caitlyn Clark's getting that money now, those MVPs down the road are going to start to get that money as well now that she's there. And that's why I think she's the villain right now, but won't be in a couple of years.
It was just so hard for anybody to break that glass barrier, for her to come in and do it easily. I think that's the part that would irk anybody in any job. Triple Z's, I know you did your research. What do you have to say about Caitlyn Clark?
I don't think that she's gonna be the villain for long, because, you know, they're eventually gonna even out and everything's just gonna go down from here. I don't think it's gonna get any worse, and she's just gonna be playing like how she has been, keeping going. She might get better. She's definitely been doing good as what I've seen, but yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with Triple Z the other day, and he told me like that didn't realize somebody could shoot the 3 like that. I was like, yeah, I mean, she's amazing. Like, she's, to me, gonna change exactly what Steph Curry did for the NBA by stretching out the court more and just adding a whole nother dynamic to an offense.
White or black? If any women's player shooting that well, white or black, like, that's going to transcend the game. Agreed. We've been waiting for someone to be able to do that. Caitlyn Clark just happens to be that person. And, like, we can still celebrate the fact that there is great players in this league. They just don't have the notoriety yet of a Caitlyn Clark. But by getting people to watch the WNBA, look, I'm not a Celtics fan, but I watch the playoffs. Like, just because the Fever aren't going to be in the playoffs doesn't mean I'm not going to tune in to see Aces Liberty when we get to the WNBA finals, right? So it's all going to trickle down. It's at its worst right now. It's a toxic discourse on social media right now, unfortunately. But
it is. Yeah.
I think once we get into the later in the season, then it'll start to dissipate a bit.
Kenny, 2 things, Kenny, before we jump to the next segment. Number 1, you're a WNBA League Pass holder?
Of course.
Yeah, so am I. Just had to make sure. Second, this is a Houston Comets show all the way through and through. So whenever that comes back, we're definitely going to be well into the WNBA.
Did you see? Hey, Canada's getting the WNBA. We're getting a team up in Toronto in a couple of years. I'm just saying, it's progress.
I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous. I was fully expecting a Houston Comets blow up, but next one, next expansion.
It's just a quick 30-hour drive to Toronto from here, so definitely all in on those tickets.
I will see you Saturday. All right, here we go. Let's transition. I mean, it wouldn't be a show if we don't talk at least a little football about our favorite boys, but we're going to talk CeeDee Lamb and Deebo, and we're going to talk about it today no matter what. Right in time, though, from the Last Call podcast, Chris Connor joins the fray here. He's going to join to this crazy show already. Chris Connor, what's going on, my man?
Not much. I'm watching my Celtics. I'm getting ready I'm following what the hell is going on in Chiefs camp. It seems like it's getting more drama than a soap opera. I mean, hey, it's another June. That's all I can say.
Yeah, they said they were going to be filming Grey's Anatomy season 39 there, and so the drama just got bigger in Kansas City. But let's talk the real shop here. CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, contract holdouts. Obviously, a lot of smoke around Deebo Samuel getting traded. CeeDee Lamb not showing up to minicamp. For you, Kenny, I'll start you off again with this segment. Bigger worry, is it CeeDee Lamb or is it Deebo?
It's probably Deebo. I think that with everything going on in San Fran around Ayuk's money and Deebo's money, I think that he would be the greater concern because he feels like he's more expendable than a CeeDee Lamb is. Dallas doesn't really have a great wide receiver outside of CeeDee Lamb. We know that Jerry's going to roll out the pocketbook in order to pay him.
Right.
It's just whether or not he wants to cross what Justin Jefferson just did. And I don't think they want to get there, but maybe CeeDee thinks he deserves that. So it'll be interesting to monitor, but I'm not worried about. I get why guys sit out of mini camp like this. If you don't have your contract, why would you even risk going out on the field and then getting injured and then your money's spoiled? So I don't really blame either of them for not being there.
I completely agree. Triple Z's, bigger worry for you. CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel.
I'm going to say Deebo because he's been a bigger part for San Francisco than CeeDee is for Cowboys, especially since Cowboys isn't that great anymore. So I'm going to say that Deebo is the one that's more important here.
Yeah, take it easy with the not that great anymore here. We don't need that slander this early. His season hasn't even started yet, Zay. Take it easy, all right? Take it easy over there. I know where you're sitting. Chris Connor, bigger worry for you, Deebo, CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb, just because neither guy's getting traded. But here's what you and I both thought during a playoff game. There was this friction between CeeDee and Dak. Dak's going to be a free agent after this year. CeeDee Lamb might be a free agent. I mean, nothing will happen yet, but if it starts going ugly in the early part of a season, you start worrying, okay, is this going to be more drama and Big D since, Dynasty?
Yeah, I definitely sense that tension. It may not be shared that everybody thought there was tension there, but I could definitely see it. They played it off. I think for me, there's probably more worry for me on the Deebo Samuel side of things because we know Jerry is going to pay CeeDee. That money's going there. We know for a different fact that Dak money is not guaranteed right now. We don't know what's happening, although a lot of analysts think it's done. I just don't see how when both sides have clearly said they're not talking and there hasn't been any sort of movement on either side. And a contract extension would have helped us this offseason sign some of our guys back. And I don't think that's a done deal. A whole other issue with the whole entire Cowboys franchise, but we'll let me digress. I think Deebo's probably out the door. At this point, it seems like they've settled Ayuk as the future there in San Francisco. And where Deebo goes, he's probably going to get guaranteed that contract extension. So where he goes, I don't think the money's an issue either way for each player. But I do think Deebo's the one wearing new threads by midseason. For some, they think he rides out another year.
I gotta push back on that. I mean, because both teams it's Super Bowl or bust. I mean, for the 49ers, this is the last year you have Brock Purdy under a cheap deal. I mean, why would you trade Deebo when you can still trade him in the offseason? And look, they want Super Bowl. I mean, that core is not getting younger; they're getting older. And next offseason, You got to pay Brock Purdy. I mean, eventually he's going to want, $50 million at least.
I just don't know if Deebo wants to play like that. That's going to be my big concern. He's a Swiss Army knife and puts himself at risk all over that field for nothing guaranteed. Like, why would you play? And if you're not willing to pay him, you can become a stalemate. Becomes a situation where you're not in a good environment. It's not a good situation. It's toxic, and all of a sudden you got a locker room problem. So to avoid that, you find a team that maybe has a star wide receiver that would fit, bring them in, send him to get his contract extension elsewhere if he's not happy, and you move on. That's what I would do. I know we're far away from it, and we'll see either of them report. I'm sure CeeDee Lamb contract will come out. Kenny, last 30-second take before we talk all the finals.
I think the ship's already sailed on San Fran. The ship's never been there for Dallas, so Chiefs are bust.
You have to make it that solemn, Kenny. I didn't say the ship had to go anywhere. God damn, man. I'm just here enjoying my Thursday
the
night.
ship's never been there. What are we talking about?
Damn, Kenny makes it real. This is me just a second ago.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Cowboys to the moon is what we're saying on this show, Kenny. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. Brief commercial break. We do have a wonderful stream team that is still teetering along, but is looking for members. Check them out. The stream team's featuring a lot of different ones like Coach Peanut, you've seen in the comments, maybe Mama Bear, or Two Coney No Onion, also the great Smashley Gaming. Check out them on Kick, Twitch TV, as well as Facebook Gaming, maybe even some YouTube Gaming. Let's roll their clips, and you can catch their names at the bottom.
Jill going down the hill, gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down, and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh, yo, clip that headshot.
No!
A pistol. What the? Okay, that didn't count.
Woo, let's go, baby, clutch it up. Yeah, I like it.
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go! Nice, Papa! Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely orange. Green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
All right, there's 85 of y'all knuckleheads joining us here for our final segment, which is around the NBA Finals. I'm sure you're not tuning into that anymore. That game is over. So you're watching the show, and you're going to figure out, are we crazy for picking the Mavericks, or are we just going to go with everybody else and pick the Celtics? We're going to break down each position, talk about who has the advantage really quick around the room. Then the four of us are going to give the predictions of who we think is going to win, and that is the end of the show. So let's start things off here. At point guard, you have Drew Holiday against Luka Doncic. I'll go around the room. What advantage and why? Kenny's giving me the squints. He's going Luka. I'm obviously Luka. I'm going to ask him because I feel like there's going to be crazy takes here. Chris Connor, Drew Holiday or Luka Doncic, who do you give the advantage to?
Oh, Luka Doncic. I'm a Celtics fan, but I'm not going, just beyond that. It's like, look, I think Luka Doncic is a top 5 player in the NBA and possibly anywhere between 1 to 3. So yeah, look, I think Doncic.
There you go. And so that makes it pretty much unanimous. So let's move on to shooting guard, Derek White or Kyrie Irving. And I have the squints on this one. Does anybody think Derek White is the better option of the two?
I do.
Okay,
hear me out.
Let's talk that out.
All right. Kyrie Irving's not playing defense. Kyrie Irving is basically just an offensive player. And when he's hot, he's hot. I give him that. But right now we're seeing this game like he can't really do much. He's not a defensive guy. You know, he's not going to get a lot of rebounds. He's not this great passer. He's a pure shooter. And when Derek White's not shooting, he can still defend. He can still block shots. He can still move the ball. I mean, he's content being the third option on a team where he's the third option, but any other team, he'd be the number 2 option.
Yeah, I just think overall as a player, nobody's gonna have better ball handling. I think Kyrie is a better isolationist. I think for what he's needed to do as a second star, I would take Kyrie over Derek White. And I am a Derek White fan. I actually love his game. I loved him in San Antonio. I thought he would bring a championship to Boston as a missing piece. Kenny, Derek White or Kyrie, just because I have to ask him.
I'm not addressing that. Just Kyrie.
Okay. Let's go to the small forward position. Jaylen Brown, Derek Jones. It's 2-0 Mavs from a position battle here,
we
but
can keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling. Tatum or Washington? I think the question then becomes Porzingis or Gafford at this point.
What?
At center. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a question either, but it's good to bring it up around the room. Nope. Kenny says no. Position battle wise is no question.
No.
So from a bench perspective, Kenny, who's got a deeper roster than for a finals run? Boston or Dallas?
I mean, to me, the bench really doesn't matter in the NBA Finals outside of your 6th, maybe 7th guy. If we're going off of, like, I know that Porzingis didn't start tonight, but we're anticipating he will in game 2, meaning Horford is probably the first off the bench, and then Hauser, and then you would take Lively and Kleber. And I'd give the edge to Horford. So I would say Boston has the slight edge on the bench. But again, I'm not that worried about the bench in a series like this.
Yeah, from a perspective of roster talent and depth, Boston leans for me a little bit heavier than Dallas does. I think Dallas is star heavy, and then they lean on them to carry, and they're streaky, as you saw in tonight's game. For you, Chris Connor, I know you're a Boston fan, but take the bias out of it. Whose roster is deeper to you, and does a rotation matter for you in this type of series?
It matters a bit, not much. Look, I think it's a toss-up in terms of the bench. I give it the slight edge to Boston just because it's Al Horford. I mean, with him there, they don't have to ask Porzingis to play a full 36 minutes or 48 minutes and, risk getting injured. They could just go, all right, hey, 25 minutes for Porzingis, and we're going to do 23 plus for Horford. We're all set. That's about it. I mean, look, if the Mavericks win, it's going to be basically just, Luka Doncic, turning into Michael Jordan, getting 60, Kyrie Irving somehow not, getting all, emotional and dropping like 35. And that's it. I mean, that's the only way they're going to win. Otherwise, this is over. This series is over. Give it to the Celtics. They just are a better 1 through 7 in their rotation.
I think there are going to be, and this kind of going to lead into our finals prediction, and we can just jump into that. I think there's going to be games where there's a Luka game, there's a Kyrie game. I don't think this is going to be a fast series. I know a lot of people predict that this could be 4-5. I think this is a 6 or 7 game series. I personally think that there are going to be games that Dallas can win out and probably win one in Boston and lose one at home. They're a streaky team. They rely on the 3. And I like the way Luka and Kyrie have that tenacity and doesn't give up in the spotlight, and they're closers. So if Dallas is leading in the 4th, they will not yield a lead, and we'll have to see if Boston can handle that going into the 4th quarter, especially not being challenged very much in the playoffs. They've won every series outright and haven't really been pushed. So we'll have to see how they deal with adversity against a team that can push you depending on storylines and how the playoffs are going to play out. Kenny, I started with you, so we're going to start with you with predictions. How do you predict this series to play out and why?
I mean, it's Boston in 5 for me. I'm not overly worried about Dallas. I know that I troll in your chat about Dallas. Like, at the end of the day, like Dallas has the backcourt edge, but it's a slight win. Everywhere else, Boston has a massive edge. And I think the problem that you have is when you look at Dallas the rest of the postseason, yes, Kyrie and Luka would go off, and then it's like, okay, they're going to win for sure. And I don't think that the two of them going off in a playoff game means that they're guaranteed to win against Boston. And it's just because they have so many guys that can score 20 points. Like, their whole starting lineup can. Al Horford, we've seen in the playoffs, can go and hit like 6 threes, and it's not like Dallas defends the three particularly great. So just for me, I think it's a huge edge. They've been the best team all year. Feels like Dallas is maybe a little bit away because they still have some young guys that I think have some growth potential there, but they're just running into a juggernaut, and I think that Boston will take it down in 5.
Boston in 5 is there. Steve the General Reisner is sending a text to Kenny right now saying, I knew it. Chris Connor, what about you? What's your prediction?
I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. I'm going Boston 6. It's just, man, as you said, okay, they have Doncic, they have Kyrie Irving. We'll see how Kyrie handles, coming back to Boston right now. Today was not a good game. He probably will bounce back, but it's just, all right, who's the answer for Jason Tatum? Who's the answer for Jaylen Brown? Who the hell is going to stop Porzingis? Because Ivy just got basically turnstile and put in foul trouble. It was easy against Minnesota because Karl-Anthony Towns didn't sort of show up at all. Denver, it was 1-2. It was basically 5 versus basically Jokic, and the rest of Denver didn't shoot well. So he was eliminated against Minnesota. It's just everything worked well for Dallas, but now it's okay. They got to go against a big 5. They got to go against Horford. That nobody else seems to step up, and there's only so much one guy can do against 5 starters who can all score 15 points at least.
We all know that Jokic can't hurt a horse, so let's just be honest. Oh, come on. That was funny. Tough room. You guys are way too quiet.
You've been hanging out with Perkins, haven't you? You and Perkins.
Hey, what? Are you okay there, Chris? What did you say?
You must be hanging out with Perkins. Just you two seem to love slandering Jokic every time you get a chance. I know you're Texas boys. You probably share war stories on Twitter that we don't know about. Perk, I love you. He'll go Ernest. You're a great guy. But the Jokic slander is just off the charts.
Jokic slander? Do I hate Jokic? Is that what you're saying? I don't like Jokic?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. I like Jokic.
Sure you do.
That's weird. That's a weird statement. I have to go back to my reels and figure out where I slander Jokic. I actually like Jokic a lot. I'm not one of the people who think he doesn't take things serious. But he didn't win. And he couldn't hurt a horse. Triple Z's. What are your thoughts? What is your prediction?
I'm going to go off what Chris Connor said. I'm going to go 6 for Boston, too.
All right. Celtics in 6. So Celtics unanimous here. Okay. So this is a Texas show. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Let's make a case. I think Dallas gets a wake-up call on how good Boston really was tonight. They lose both in Boston. They're going to go back and win both in Dallas. And then they hold par for the course. This goes game 7 in Boston. Dallas Mavericks show up. It's a classic. Dallas wins in the clutch, fourth quarter. Dallas in 7.
You don't even believe that.
I absolutely believe that.
There's no part of how you just said that where you believe that's true.
Now, logically, it's probably going to be Boston in 5. But if there is a loser,
admitting that they're going to win in 5.
The logical money is Boston in 5. I wouldn't put money on Mavs in 7 and say I was betting the house on it. I'm just saying there's a world where that's going to happen. I like this Mavs team. This is a betting show. If I have to tell you we're putting money, you're going to tell you put it on Boston. That's the favorites and the better team. But
Ernest,
you're not going to get a bad day from Luka and Kyrie. You're what?
I said there's also a world where wizards exist. That doesn't mean it's likely. I mean, I get it. You're a pro Texas fan. You're probably going, hey, I'm put $100 down on the Cowboys to win the NFC. I'm putting $100 down on the Houston Texans to win the whole thing, and you're probably betting on Texas to win the NCAA Final Four and the national championship this year. But come on. You're just stretching now. You're stretching this year. Even you don't believe that Dallas is going to win in 7, let alone, at all.
First off, I put $100 for the Cowboys to win the NFC East. Thank you. I don't go that hard for the Cowboys. I know they're great, but I don't think they're going to win the whole NFC. Second off, of course the Texans are going to win the whole thing. That's not even a question. Third, there's a possibility I believe the Mavericks could win this in 7. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I mean, okay, guys, if we come back in 2 weeks and it's game 7, are you guys going to come back and say, okay, sorry, we're full of shit? Like that's like, there's a possibility this team is they're in the NBA finals. They're making this run. Like the storyline is there. What are we doing? Like that team is good. Like, I don't think the talent is that lopsided. I think Boston's the better team. I can say with a straight face, it's either Mavs, and I put this in many messages today to different people. It's either Mavs in 7 or Boston in 5. That's how I see it. I don't think Boston closes in Dallas.
Fair enough. I don't believe you, but fair enough.
That's fair. That's tonight's episode. Obviously, we don't agree. Now I got to go buy a Mavericks jersey and wear it on every episode here on out, just for fun, and just so Steve can get mad at me and Chris Connor can send me hate messages, and we can get on with the show. But Kenny Cotter, it's good to have you back on the show. I look forward to having you on the birthday episode also, and having you back for the month of June. Tell people where they can find you.
At HedgePod on Twitter. Just follow me. I don't have anything to promote.
Go follow Kenny. Chris Connor, talk to the people.
Yeah, you can check me out at thelastcallpodcast.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Last Call Podcast with Chris C. We just dropped an interview with rapper boxer Slink Proper, who'll be fighting on the June 26th ESPN card against Muhammad Ali's grandson, Nico Ali Walsh, in a rematch, the main event. Looking forward to that. And once again, it's always a pleasure to be on the show.
Of course. It's always sweet to have you on. Having you and Kenny is always the highlight of my week. Triple Z's, talk to the people. Where can they find you?
Outside, in the wild, in the forest, in the pool. Doesn't really matter. Find me anywhere.
Triple Z's not on Twitter, so you can't find him anywhere but in the wild. That's fun. I'm your host, Ernest Doc. He's so excited to share the mic with everybody. We look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. We're going to talk some more football, and then we go straight NBA draft in the following week. Always a pleasure, y'all. Tune in next week, and I hope your team is either fighting for their lives or winning, because apparently this is a tough crowd today for the Mavericks. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.